back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. This time we've got Wyatt Reed again. Wyatt, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again, brother.
It's an honor and a pleasure. We've been chasing each other around for since you've been in Donbass. When was that? Or actually, since you were here in Serbia, we actually met in person.
Yeah.
Went to see some historical sites and stuff. I didn't feel like sharing any of those photos because I'm not dark enough in those photos. Um, in any case,
You played it. You were a great tour guide, though. I will say,
uh,
my best tour of Serbia ever.
how
Also, my
many
only tour of Serbia, but it was by far the best.
how many times have you been to Serbia?
I was there twice,
All
kind
right,
of
nice.
back and forth on my way to Moscow. You know, it's difficult to. You can't really get a direct flight to Moscow anymore, so you have to fly somewhere. And in my case, that somewhere was Serbia, and I'm glad I went there. Honestly, it's an incredible country.
All right, excellent. For everybody who's new here, hi, welcome. This is a comedy show. Nothing we say here is real or has anything to do with reality. It's all like jokes and fiction and made up stories. All right, now that that's out of the way, um, Wyatt.
It's like the comedic equivalent of like the financial advice
Exactly. This is not
warning.
this is
Like,
not
okay,
financial advice. Anything we say is just a joke. There's nothing to do with the news here. Like this, for example, Biden, war with Russia, war with Iran, war with China, and war with Texas. How do you feel about what's going on in Texas?
I don't even know what's going on in Texas anymore. I don't think anyone really does. It just seems like it's you have two parallel universes of your, in terms of what's going on down there. Um, Basically, you have a segment, but both sides, as far as I can tell, are just kind of presenting some theatrical production that it's. I mean, it's all oriented towards larger political goals. None of it really seems to be terribly serious. I can't. It doesn't seem like anyone is actually interested in slowing down the speed of migrants, even if they kind of act all like tough on crime. It doesn't. It all seems like it's theater. I don't really understand what's happening there. I haven't been there, uh, but it's very strange, the kind
Um,
of disconnect between the reporting
I recently
and what
found
seems to be
out
going on.
that there were like 50 or from 50 to 200 Serbs who were in the original Texas Revolution, like the original one that started Texas as the Lone Star State. Um, Apparently there were a bunch of Serbs 200 some odd years ago there as well, which is
I didn't know that.
it came across my feed and it seemed legit, so I'm sharing it with you, along with this meme from our favorite Serbian meme page, National Meme Coordination Body. Um, so yeah, Serbia stands with Texas, or at least the Serbian meme pages do. Here's another one. Texas is getting their weapons ready. Um,
Is
you've
that a
seen the
shipment from the Wagner Corps?
Yeah, that's Wagner spec missile grade washing machines. And of course, it's propaganda when they start shooting down drones with Campbell soup. How do you
Wait, did
feel
that
about?
happen in real life?
Well, as much as it happened in Ukraine, Ukraine patented the technology before, so
Oh,
like
I
it's
forgot
it's
all about that one. There's been so many insane, like, fake stories about Ukrainian heroes that just like collapsed within 2 days that I've forgotten all of them. They all kind of collapsed into one, so I don't really remember any of them anymore.
um you're right in saying that there's been a shit ton of them. Let's put it that way.
What do we have? The Ghost of Kiev. That was the first one, right?
That was the major one, yeah, and the game footage that they used, like I think it was Armor 3 or something like that.
There was the Snake Island, fuck you, Russia, or whatever, your guys. That was
Oh,
not
the
real.
ship, yeah, yeah. Moscow, like the ship, go fuck yourself or something like that.
Yep, 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 yep. This was just like in the first couple weeks, and then they really kept trotting. They got worse from there. Then they really didn't like improve terribly much. I think they just like used their best stuff at first. I'm sure like they took from the top of the CIA file and realized it's a little bit thinner underneath there. Not a whole lot of good material.
When were you in the DNR, or should I say Zaporozhye? Because you were in Zaporozhye Oblast, right? As well.
Yeah, I was there during the elections. So this will have been what? How many months now?
Don't look at me, man. Like,
6 months, 5 6 months. Um, yeah. So right during the elections, I went there more out of curiosity than anything. I just kind of wanted to see what it would be like for people who are voting for the first time in a Russian election. People who have never done this before. And in many cases, of people who are really thrilled about it, especially older people. I noticed a lot of old kind of babushkas, grandmothers, just really were totally thrilled with this opportunity. And maybe it's not necessarily the voting itself. I think it was more uh, becoming part of Russia. Reintegrating their life with Russia again, as it had been for most of their lives, right? I think, and then obviously, I would be probably foolish not to mention the fact that in former Eastern Ukraine, people there have enormous amounts of complaints about how they're treated by the government. Not just people who are a part of the kind of separatist movement, but just normal civilians. It's obviously the least prioritized area of the country in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure projects, by far the most ignored um, from the central government. So people over there, they have a sense that when they become part of Russia, now they'll actually be able to get social benefits. They'll be able to get kind of social security payments. They'll have a government that kind of looks after them, as opposed to uh, neglects them at every opportunity. In kind of a best case scenario, worst case, they're actively shelling them. So that was a big shift that I noticed, was just that maybe it wasn't necessarily casting a vote itself so much as what it represented that seemed to be important to the people. So I was glad in the end that I spent that time there, that I got to see what it was like from the perspective of just kind of average people in what the Russians would call Malorossiya, in this new area that's been incorporated, that didn't want to be a part of Ukraine. And so they picked up whatever weapons they could find and said, you know what, you're not going to kill us like you did those people in Odessa just because we speak Russian. So those people, yeah, they are. Um, Sorry, brother. Uh, my roommate is doing something with an air blower
I
for
can't
some
hear it,
reason.
so nobody else can. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So let me just jump back in. So I'll say,
Let me get you back on track with this video that you or let me play this in the background. This video that you sent me a long time ago when we talked about this. This is like an insane video that you filmed as you were being why are we there? As you were being escorted. Where were you going this time? Was this part of the like election stuff?
yeah, in that day was during the elections. We were going to a village outside of Zaporozhye. Um, I believe near the Kherson region. I'd have to double check at my notes on that, but yeah, it's definitely off the coast of the Sea of Azov.
All right, all right. Um, One of the subjects that I was going to bring up with you, or actually before that, before I get into that, let me do some selfless promotion, shameless promotion. Is that what it's called? Yeah, shameless
Yeah.
self promotion. Uh, Check out the Buy Me a Coffee if you're interested in more Working Brother and supporting me. Everybody who has already, thank you. Also, there's a Patreon. Now that that's officially been said, let's find some memes. You like memes? Do you enjoy memes? How do you feel about memes as a political tool?
Seems to be pretty effective, more so than a lot of other ones.
Hmm. Donbass
I
and
mean,
Texas. Copying Donbass. Go on, go on.
you want me to like give you my philosophical breakdown of memes
Yeah,
and their
why not?
political utility?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we've talked about it with
Um,
other guests before, so I'm sure people won't mind getting your take on it as well.
well, it's like probably the simplest way to communicate a concept. So in that sense, I'm a meme fan, go memes. But there's obviously some value in more text than you can fit in a meme.
Yeah, but
So
to get the mind going and like to get a giggle, because like once you get a giggle out of somebody, you know you have them hooked.
and once you
This,
put more than like 8, 9 words in a meme, it's over, man. It's just
yeah,
not funny.
yeah. I'll have to agree with you. I actually made a meme or two or four or five. People who don't know, I'm on Instagram too, Working Brother. Most memes are stolen, but some I make myself. And you're right. There's definitely like finesse to getting the like information versus amount of words. And like the first couple of ones that I tried, like as you say, like after a while looking at them with that much explanation, like it's not funny anymore. In any case,
Right.
looking at this
Well,
one,
you
this
can you can
go
burn
on.
yourself out on your own meme. That's why you gotta seek some external validation sometimes and make sure you're not just like sniffing your own farts.
um, this one was shared by Hawkin. Um, Show me on this doll will Russia hurt you. This was in relation to Australia. Did you hear Australia is mobilizing to like fight Russia?
Good luck with that.
Right?
Have fun.
Send pictures. Um,
Yeah, right.
did you hear about the British Navy?
What about specifically?
They basically don't exist anymore.
What do you mean they don't exist anymore?
I mean, like their
Oh
aircraft
no, I know
carrier
what
is
you're
like
talking about.
not
Yeah,
crude
okay.
enough, and you know.
You had me over here googling. But no, oh, you're talking about because of like enlistment
Yeah,
goals and stuff like that.
yeah.
They've like removed all standards, I think, or something like that.
Because nobody wants to like sign up, and because they don't have enough people to even crew like the smaller, medium-sized ships, let alone a full three crews for the bigger ships. So yeah.
Well, the same thing is happening in the U.S. military. It's just like they're consistently missing recruitment targets. Nobody wants to join. It's just not enough money anymore.
Hmm.
It's not a good enough deal anymore for people to want to sign over their lives to fight some nonsense resource war. The war du jour, whatever war they come up with that year, because we're really just, it's like an endless succession. Honestly, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to join any of these militaries. And they've never really been able to fit in the kind of like liberal ideology that the rest of the government embraces. They've
Hmm.
never been able to make that fit very well with the military, and so now they're kind of just like really trying to just shoehorn it in there, just like jam people in there no matter what. People don't want to join, and then the white guys don't want to join anymore because they think that they're like being there's like reverse racism against them or something. They don't like the like lowering of standards for women and stuff. So you basically have, it's like they're lowering their standards for people that don't want to join, and then the people that would otherwise want to join don't want to join anymore because it's no longer like a club for them, and it's not really like as fun or interesting. It doesn't carry the same weight anymore. It's like it used to be. You could walk into some just anywhere middle America, and mentioning the fact that you're a soldier is like automatic respect, across the board by everyone in the building. And I feel like it's slowly changing to where it's now just, oh, you joined the military? Like, why? Across the board, it doesn't have any. There are fewer and fewer supporters, and this is a tendency that's been happening in the U.S. military for a long time, where it's a smaller and smaller portion of the population fields the actual soldiers. This has been going on since they got rid of the draft, and now it's just, I think, like 1% of the population. 1% of the population fields all the soldiers. These Gold Star families, these military families, and that phenomenon is not reversing. And if they really want to get numbers up, the only way to do that is to dramatically increase salaries, and that doesn't really seem to be in the cards either. So good luck. All I can say, good luck with your next proxy war, and let's hope it doesn't turn into something more than a proxy war, because
Speaking of next proxy war, I had a meme lined up. I had no idea you were going to say this. And for everyone watching, the jokes that we're discussing are all impromptu. Like, we haven't discussed the topics beforehand. I've just loaded a bunch of stuff. The only thing that I have told you is that I came across the Gray Zone interview with the Houthi spokesman. And now you mentioned, getting tangled into the next proxy war. And we've got this meme going. So, what's for everybody who's not aware, Wyatt is a Jew.
Do I have to explain the meme?
No, you have to explain your opinion about what's going on with the Houthis and the Jews and the Gazans and the Palestinians. The meme, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. But for people who've never seen this meme, why don't you break it down for people?
Okay, so this is a newer vintage Family Guy race meme rebrand. So this is your classic Family Guy racial okay, not okay, quick test meme. So the original meme, it says okay, not okay, and it's got a handful of skin tones. Peter Griffin in this case is okay because he's a white guy. But some clever bastard has come and replaced the skin tones with a handy Houthi guide to which ships are allowed to pass and not pass in the Red Sea. So that's meme explained.
Excellent. I couldn't have done it that well. Let's put it that way. Now we've got.
I'm something of a connoisseur.
Like I think a lot of us are a lot more of a connoisseur in memes than we'd like to admit. This is the interview that you had for the Grain Zone, or who was it who had the interview?
That was us. That was Max that carried out that interview.
Max, that's his name. Blumenthal, but I couldn't remember his first name off the top of my head. Anyway, and then I was like, wait, I know these guys. So I hit you up, and here we are. So our goal is a simple one: to stop the genocide that is happening in Gaza. What do you feel about this, 70 chess political game that's developing, considering the Houthis are Iranian proxies, and like they're owned by Chinese, and all this stuff?
Honestly, I mean, it's presented as though, if you hear the media talk about, oh, it's so complicated, it's very simple. If you ask me, I don't think it's 7D chess at all. It's like checkers, really. It's not even a chess, it's not a terribly complicated game. You are carrying out a genocide, and this is under international law, by the way. Uh, Countries have an obligation to stop you from carrying out genocide. And in this case, I should say, that's exactly what Ansarullah, the so-called Houthi movement, is doing in the Red Sea. They are applying military economic pressure to those who are carrying out a genocide of the Palestinian population. It's a very simple thing. It's something that all countries really should be doing. But instead, obviously, the West has decided that we are going to bomb and murder more people in another country over this. That rather than taking the reasonable position of saying, okay, we're going to stop sponsoring a genocide. We're going to stop shipping tens of thousands of 155 millimeter artillery shells, 120 millimeter tank shells, stop shipping thousands of Hellfire missiles so that the Israelis can dump them on a bunch of starving children in Gaza. That would be obviously the rational, reasonable approach. It's honestly a popular approach, certainly a popular approach among Democrats, among Joe Biden's supposed base. But that's not allowed, apparently. We, for whatever reason, have to, as a nation, stand by as our trusty colonial outpost in the Middle East carries out various war crimes and crimes against humanity. So we're all in. We're all in on Israel's right to carry out horrific acts against children. And it doesn't seem like anything's really shifted. We keep hearing in the news that Joe Biden's really getting frustrated with Netanyahu, and we're at the end of our rope with these darn Israelis. But nothing substantial ever comes of it. There's never any even public warnings about potentially conditioning these weapons shipments on Israel not carrying out war crimes, Israel respecting, for example, the judgment of the ICJ. Nothing from that or from any of the supposedly enlightened European countries, Germany, Italy, etc., that are also not only refusing to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, we're not going to engage in any trade, we're not going to send weapons with Israel, but they're also taking that step with alongside the United States, really under the United States, to defund the UNRWA, the main organization, the main supplier of humanitarian aid into Palestine. So Europe is going alongside the United States on this issue, just as they did on the Ukraine issue, and they're on the wrong side. They have kind of made that decision. Whatever is left of the European kind of intellectual elite, whatever hasn't already been sort of ceded to the United States. You look at countries like Germany and France that used to kind of stick up for themselves on some level, and there's nothing there. It's really pathetic. But yeah, this is where we are now. We have the Houthis doing their humanitarian legal obligation to help prevent a genocide, to stop a genocide in action. We have the so-called enlightened West doing everything in their power to kill them for doing that.
What can I say, man? I was gonna make a joke halfway through, but you were like summing it up so well that I just didn't want to stop you.
What?
In the meantime, I forgot the jokes. So everybody who thought this was a real comedy show, this is a real comedy show. The joke's on you. There are
It's
no
an
jokes.
anti-joke show.
Something along those lines. I was gonna ask you.
Just 2 hours of setup for a joke that never comes.
That's precisely what I was gonna pick your brain about. I'm thinking about trying this new thing on YouTube where I do like 20-25 minute episodes instead of like hour long episodes, so that I get people to like maybe watch the whole thing, because like only about like 15% of you watch the whole thing and only about like 40% of you are subscribed. Yes, I'm talking to you. Anyway, so do you feel like going for an hour, or do you feel like calling this like part one and then like coming back like right away when we stop recording with another segment? We've got a lot more
We can do
memes.
segments if you think that'll play better. Let's do segments.
You think so? All right. You heard it from him, people. Let me play some music. Everyone, thank you for stopping by. This has been a comedy show. Working Brother Talks.
We swear.
We swear. Yeah. Legally speaking. Thank you again, Wyatt. Everybody who subscribed, hit the bell so that you can get the next one. See you soon.